Hey guys, how's it going? So listen, I want you to close your eyes and picture a scenario. You're sleeping on your friend's couch. You have no money, you have no clients, and no way out. What do you do? Well, I just wrapped up an interview with Renee Reese, and she did something that's pretty incredible. She actually found herself in that exact scenario. She had no money, she was sleeping on someone's couch, she had no clients, and she had just started a law firm. So her story is pretty incredible. She went from zero to six figures in 6 months. And I want you to take a look at this interview. I want you to see how she did it. Her message is that if she can do it, anyone can do it. I think that she has amazing initiative, and I think that her accomplishment is absolutely incredible. And I think that everyone can kind of learn from this interview that it's not that hard. The hardest thing is just getting started. So take a look at this interview and let me know what you think in the comments. All right, so we're here with Renee Reese, and Renee has a really cool story. Correct me if I'm getting some of the details wrong, but you graduated from law school in 2013.
Yep.
And you went from basically sleeping on a friend's couch or a family member's couch to making six figures. And you did it all through organic marketing that you did yourself. Is that correct?
Yes.
Cool. So can you tell me a little bit about that? I'm really interested in that, and I think that that's honestly something that's to be commended. That's pretty amazing. What did you do? Why don't you just give me kind of an overview of what you did?
Sure. So I had been helping entrepreneurs with their business stuff, getting stuff together, but not officially, just like here and there, helping friends out and a couple referrals, but nothing super serious. And I was up for a job that I wanted back in May. And I was like, okay, if I don't get this job, I have to start my own law firm and I just have to, go for it. And at the time I was between two friends' houses, sleeping on both of their couches. And long story short, I didn't get that job. And just on my friend's couch, literally, I started a law firm. Um, and I didn't know, like we know how to be lawyers, but we don't necessarily know how to run a business or run a firm. So I had to figure out a lot quickly. And the easiest thing for me to do, well, not easiest, but the simplest thing for me to do was organic marketing. And I did that basically by studying my market, which is online entrepreneurs. And I just studied them a lot. Like I know them better than they know themselves pretty much at this point, and really got to the root of their issues. So a lot of my messaging is directed towards their pain and towards what's going on in their lives. So I just started showing up and providing value for them. And that's how I started getting clients.
So that's actually a great point. And I don't know if you've ever read the E-Myth, but that's kind of the whole thought behind that book, where basically you're a great lawyer, but just because you're a great lawyer doesn't basically make you qualified to run an entire law firm. There's so much, you got to learn marketing, you got to learn business, you got to learn human resources, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely a wake up call that a lot of people I think run into. And organic marketing, the way that you did it, what are some of the ways that you studied your clients and that you actually figured out where they were? And I mean, obviously you did it on Facebook. So how did you do that?
In the beginning, it was kind of slow. I didn't know what I was doing. So I would go to Facebook groups and I think I just typed in like entrepreneur groups. And I Googled like best Facebook groups for entrepreneurs. So a bunch of groups came up. I ended up joining like 200 groups, which I don't recommend at all because that's really overwhelming. But I went through those groups and I would see like which ones were very like engaged, which ones were active. And I would search like legal stuff. I would say like in the search bar, I would type in legal or contracts or trademarks and just see what people were talking about. And if it was a recent conversation, I would hop in and I would just say, hey, have you thought about this? Or here's what I think, blah, blah, blah. I would try to give value and just listen in on the conversations and see what their pain points were and see what they were talking about. And besides legal stuff too, like whether it's time management or like stress, like what was the kind of the conversations that they were having. So I did this every day to kind of get to know them better.
Got it. So what ended up happening is you basically, that people had questions and you weren't really specifically targeting lawyer groups. You were targeting groups that where there were entrepreneurs, which is really smart because you're going where your clients are.
Yeah.
So what happened, I'm assuming, is people started kind of looking at you as the legal authority because they need help and you're answering their questions. So what happened when people started looking at you as the authority?
Lots of things happened. I feel like for some of the groups I became friends with the admins, not not like purposely, it just kind of happened. That they saw that I was adding value and they reached out to me and they'd be like, "Hey, can you do a Facebook Live on this topic? I have a lot of people asking me about this." So then people would start to, like, they would start referring me to their clients, their coaching clients, or whoever. If someone had a legal issue, they would bring my name up. Um, and then if a conversation was happening about legal stuff, people would start tagging me. They'd be like, "Hey, I wonder what Renee thinks about this. Renee has talked about this before." Um, and then I started making friends. So when I had a conversation with someone back and forth, I would add them or they would add me. And now they were kind of just in my personal sphere of influence.
Mm-hmm.
So they would see me posting every day about legal stuff or just about entrepreneur life, that type of thing. They
Mm-hmm.
become interested. And, because I'm speaking to their pains all the time,
Sure.
they would shoot me a message like, "Hey, like I, need help with this. And I know that you're an expert on this." And kudos to you for, having this group and, providing value and all of that.
Thanks. Yeah. No, well, I mean, the real reason I did it is because there's just so much bad. I mean, you're a lawyer. I'm sure you get hit up by every single marketing company and they all say the exact same thing.
And they're terrible.
And
Yeah.
they're horrible. They're all horrible. And I just like helping people, to be honest. I put a video up the other day just talking about, some of the results that I've gotten from some of my clients. And, I don't know. I mean, if I provide value, then, somebody said, I don't remember who told me this. If you give people what they want, you'll get everything you want, so it's just kind of live by that. And it's working pretty well. So you focus specifically on online entrepreneurs, and you don't necessarily go after corporate clients or things like that. You basically, you kind of found your niche and that's what you go after.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm
And
doing.
that's a really good strategy, because when you try to catch everyone, you really catch nobody. But if you can kind of dial in a niche where you really understand it and you're really able to kind of speak to their pains and you almost identify like an avatar of a perfect client, that's really what happens. So how often, once you kind of started going with this, how often would people just start messaging you on Facebook and just saying, "Hey, I got a question about this," and then because each one of those is a cold lead, is a warm lead, I should say. So how often did that start happening once you kind of got going?
I feel like it happens maybe every day, almost every day, like every other day at least.
Mm-hmm.
I have someone who either publicly comments on my stuff
Mm-hmm.
or private messages me. So
Yeah.
a lot, pretty frequently. Yeah.
So based on this, in 6 months, you said you went from sleeping on the couch to making six figures. How many clients did you get, and how much money did you spend on marketing?
How many clients? Like roughly 20-ish clients.
Mm-hmm.
I think I counted 20-ish clients. And
Sure.
somewhere around there. How much did I spend on marketing? I didn't spend anything on I didn't start paid ads until I didn't start diving into paid ads until like literally this week.
Mm-hmm.
So zero on marketing. This is
Got it.
all organic. Yeah.
Got it. How much time did you spend? How much time would you say you dedicated to your marketing, and how much do you currently dedicate to your marketing now that you've kind of made yourself an authority?
Um, I would spend at least a few hours a day in the beginning because I was starting from scratch. I didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I know them so well and now that I'm kind of an authority, I post every day, but it doesn't take me a lot of time. It takes me like 10 minutes to post these days
Mm-hmm.
because it's a skill just like anything else.
Yeah.
So once you learn it and practice it, it's easy now.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it took me a couple of hours every day.
What do you think the hardest part was in the beginning?
I think it's a whole new world. I mean, I'm a lawyer, so I didn't know, like what a funnel was, anything
Mm-hmm.
about Facebook ads, like anything about marketing. I mean, my undergrad, I did business administration, so I know like a base amount of, business stuff, but I didn't pay attention to marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like speaking a whole new language.
Sure.
and merging that with what you know. So it's just, yeah, it's a whole new world.
Got it. What type of content did you put out there? Did you? I know you said you did Facebook Lives eventually, but was it mostly just finding people to comment on? Would you put blog posts out? Would you put videos out? What would you do?
So the first thing I put out was a checklist. I think it was my first week. I was like, hey, who's interested in a checklist for online entrepreneurs and like what they need to solidify their business and make
Yeah.
it legal, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And then I would just, as I started having conversations with people and hopping on the phone and figuring out pains and needs, I started building content based on that.
Hmm.
Common misconceptions I do a lot of
Yeah.
because, certain things are popular and they're wrong.
Hmm.
And then I started doing Facebook Lives weekly with
Hmm.
just like small teaching points, 5-10 minutes at
Hmm.
the max.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's all great stuff. I mean, one of the biggest things that I hear, because I'm a huge proponent of the method that you're using. I think it's the absolute, if I could, for my clients, I mostly do SEO websites and we do some social. Um, and I tell every client I have, this is the method you need to use, basically exactly what you're doing. And the common complaint I hear is I don't have time for this. What would you say to that? Do you think that, if, even if maybe, I mean, you were in a unique scenario, you didn't have any clients, so you really had you had all the time in the world, so do you think that that's something that, do you think that if do you think time it should be a factor, or do you think that this can be done in as little as, 10-15 minutes a day?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. I think do you want to increase your income like by if you want to get to six figures, hopefully
Mhm.
seven figures, whatever, do you want to get there?
Mhm.
If so, it's how can you afford not to take the time,
Sure.
I think the time is worth it. And for me, I mean, if you have someone teaching you like you or other free resources online, I think you can do something in as little as 20 minutes a day. You
Hmm.
can figure like if you're consistent, there's no reason for you not to figure it out
Yeah.
within, just putting that time in, 20 minutes a day just to dedicate to this. There's no reason. Like, let's say tomorrow you just find some Facebook groups where your clients are. That can take 20 minutes,
Hmm.
So yeah, I think if you build up slowly, there's no reason why it should take a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think that it's the biggest thing is that, and maybe you can attest to this, is it probably didn't happen overnight for you. It probably, I mean, it's the same thing for me. I've got 200 members or 225 members or something in the Facebook group, and it's been going well, but it didn't happen overnight. When I first started, I was publishing videos, and my mom would like it and one other person. So it's like,
Exactly.
so how did you keep going? I know my answer, but how did you keep going? Maybe when you first started and you weren't getting a lot of traction, because there's the second you do something and it doesn't work, not you, but the second someone does something and it doesn't work, all those voices in your head start going, and you say, "Oh, this isn't going to work. This is stupid. This is a waste of time." So, what did you do to kind of shut those voices up, or what did you do to keep going?
I would say two things. One of the most important things for me is my morning routine. And I kind of like, I know it sounds a little woo woo, but I visualize like all my goals and like where I want to go. Um, and I have these affirmations that I go over and I just like look at my goals every morning. So that keeps me kind of focused on where I want to go.
Mhm.
And also the environment that you're surrounding yourself in. Like you have to have friends, colleagues who are in the same kind of mindset as you,
Mhm.
who want to grow and who are, interested in just doing things in an uncommon way.
Yeah.
Because when those voices come in your head, you need someone to kind of pull you out of that. Like, no, what are you talking
Mhm.
about? You're on the right path. And also just keeping a good perspective because when I say like, oh, I've been doing this for 2 weeks and it's not working, okay, like
Mhm.
that's only been 2 weeks. So, relax.
Yeah.
And you're not where you want to be. So you might as well continue to try something new.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and that's I think that's where a lot of people get hung up is they do it for a week or 2 weeks and they expect it to last forever. And the reality is that it's very easy to stop, But then once you kind of get through that, and once you actually start, it's kind of like going to the gym. It's like, when you go to the gym or you work out or you're on a diet or whatever, and the first couple weeks or the first couple days, it's really difficult because you don't really see any results, and you're like, oh, I've been working so hard. But then eventually you see something happen. So there's some sort of change where you're like, oh, wow, this is really working. And I've had a lot of those moments, and I'm sure you have too, where it's kind of like, wow, this is amazing. The first person that contacts you and says, hey, I need help with this issue. What do you charge to do a contract? Different things like that, and it's, the reality is that if it was easy, everyone would do it and the method wouldn't work. But I don't know many lawyers that are doing this. You're really the first one that I've seen that I've really seen has really taken it by the horns and really gone with it. Are there other attorneys like you out there that are really doing this, or do you kind of think that you're one of the few?
I'm one of the few. I mean, I know other lawyers, and I've I've been in contact with other lawyers who are kind of in the same niche, but I'm kind of the only one who is doing 100% organic. A lot of people I know have like podcasts and other things like that, but which has made it kind of scary in the beginning because
yeah, like nobody's here. Why am I the only one here?
It's so scary because there's no one to look at and be like, well, she's doing it, so I can do it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a little that freaked me out for a while, to be honest. Yeah.
What types of okay, so you do a lot of content that's done well. What have you done that's totally bombed? Because everybody's done. I mean, I've done stuff that's totally bombed. What have you done that's just not worked?
Yeah. I have a website, and I launched it, and literally like nobody cared. Like nobody. There was no. Yeah. I put some work into it. I hired someone to do it for me. I actually did it over twice. I actually did it over once. It's very pretty, but no one cares about my website at all. I got no clients from it whatsoever. So.
Yeah, I mean, what I've found is that clients, everyone cares about what can you do for me, and that's what it comes down to. Is if you can show value, if you can provide value, then they understand that you can help them, and that's really what it comes down to. And that's why social is so great. It's like what you're doing. I mean, you're basically, people have problems, you're giving them the answers to their problems. So, I mean, same thing that's my goal with this entire group. People want to market their law firms. I'm going to teach them how to market their law firms, and then you just let it kind of happen naturally from there, so it's really cool. But yeah, you're right. The website, you're kind of relying on people to come to you, and if you go to them, what you're doing, it works a lot better. Yeah. So,
for sure.
So if you were to start over 6 months ago, you're back on the couch. I don't know if you want to imagine that, but what would you do differently? What would you do the same? What would you tell yourself?
I would 100% tell myself, you have to focus on your mindset 100%. Like, as I said, it gets hard being the only person kind of in this space and, blazing a new path. And, you have to have the correct mindset for that. And like you said, like, things don't always work right away. I'm in Facebook groups, I'm like plugging away, I'm talking to people, but it didn't happen overnight. So you have to have that mindset. You have to take care of yourself. In the beginning, I got burnt out a little bit, just because, I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't drinking enough water, like the basic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to take care of yourself, and you have to take care of your mindset before anything else. Like, nothing else matters if you don't have that together. So that's what I would tell myself.
Got it. So you just use Facebook. Do you have any plans to move to Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, anything like that in the future? YouTube?
Yeah. So my goal was kind of just to conquer one social media platform at a time. So now I'm like, okay, I think I can start getting into Instagram because I know Instagram well, like personally.
Yeah.
And also I've had LinkedIn for a while. I don't use it at all. That's another area where I'm gonna hopefully move into more organic marketing there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha. Cool. So in the future, you said you started Facebook ads. What are you doing with Facebook ads? What's your goal with the Facebook ads, and what type of ads are you running?
So I did a webinar, and it's completely geared towards my niche.
Hmm.
I based on all these conversations that I've had
Hmm.
and the clients I've had, I built a webinar. Basically, some shifts that they can make, some stuff that they're doing wrong in their business,
Sure.
providing value. So the ads run straight to the webinar.
Okay.
And
Cool.
I literally launched the Facebook ads yesterday.
Mm.
So I don't know how we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Yeah. Facebook ads. Have you considered starting a Facebook group?
I have. I feel like I'm not there yet,
Okay.
but I feel like it's coming
What's
very
holding
soon.
you back?
I've just been so busy.
Yeah.
I want to start a Facebook group. It's definitely on my radar 100%. I
Yeah.
know it'd be really good.
Yeah.
I think one of the things was I really wanted to push the webinar out and like
Hmm.
get into Facebook ads. So I think that'll probably be my next thing.
Okay. Gotcha. I'll teach you. I'm going to put a video on here soon that'll teach you how to build a Facebook group pretty quickly.
Yes,
So yeah,
awesome.
no, it's yeah, Facebook group. I recommend everybody has a Facebook group. You've done the opposite of what I've done. You basically gone to other groups and utilized their membership bases and brought them to you. And what I've done is I've built a group.
Mhm.
I need to start going out and going to other groups and giving attorneys advice. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean that's the whole thing is that you've been very successful. I've been very successful. And I don't even think I've scratched the surface. And I don't think you've even scratched the surface with what's actually possible. So even if there was five other attorneys that are really pushing and really pushing hard on social media that doing the same thing as you're doing, there's room for even more. That's kind of the thing is that there's that red ocean, blue ocean that Russell Brunson teaches
Yeah.
where the red ocean is where everybody's fishing in the same ocean, so it's totally red, and you found these blue oceans where nobody's there, so it's just it's just so easy to get clients, and I think that's what you found, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
is there any other advice you can give to any attorneys out there watching this who are thinking, "Oh, I really want to start using social, but I don't know where to start, or I don't have time for it," because there's a lot of you were kind of in a great scenario where you really didn't have any choice.
Yeah.
Basically, it's keep sleeping on the couch or let's start going on Facebook and figuring this out. But there's some attorneys that they're also attorneys, so they don't have a couple hours a day to sit around. But what advice would you give the attorney who says, I don't have 15 minutes a day? I mean, I don't think that that's true, but that they don't actually have it. But what advice would you give someone who wants to get into this but doesn't have as much time as you did?
Yeah. Whew. I would say if you don't have 15 minutes, which I think you do,
I
um,
think that's the first thing is is think about now. Yeah, you do have 15 minutes.
I think it's first you'd have to change your mindset. If you want to change your law firm and you want to change the kind of lifestyle you're leading, you're gonna have to do things that you're uncomfortable with, which is maybe staying up for 15 minutes, maybe reading something for 10 minutes, whatever it is. You're gonna have to get uncomfortable. Second, to make it easier, I feel like when you're creating a new habit, it's easier to stick to a habit when you're putting it on the end or the beginning of an existing habit. So if you brush your teeth before bed, I hope you do. If you do that, like after you brush your teeth or before you brush your teeth, you can read. You could be like, okay, let me scroll and like find some Facebook groups, or let me think about something to post. Or let's say you're having a conversation with a client and they ask a question, you're like, wow, this is a question that most people will have. Like this has been coming up a lot. You don't want to write a blog post, but you can send a voice message to yourself. Like that takes 2 minutes, So you can find those little hacks, those little things to do that don't take a lot of time.
The other thing is everybody has an amazing video camera sitting in their pocket now. It's an iPhone or an Android. I mean, most people have iPhones. I mean, my iPhone shoots in 4K video, just like
Yeah.
everyone else's. So, I mean, what I do is a lot of times I'll have a question, I'll have something that'll just pop up in my head, and I'm like, that'd be really cool to film a video on, and I'll just pull out my phone and record a video, and then I upload it on Facebook and I upload it on YouTube and upload it on all those places, and while it took 2 minutes and that knowledge is something that's pretty common knowledge to you, even something as simple like for like a divorce attorney, you can tell a story about a time that a client posted about their divorce on Facebook and got in trouble. And then you can say, listen, that's just a reminder. Don't post anything on Facebook,
Yeah.
and just, I mean, it doesn't have to be these big produced videos. In fact, I've found that the videos that aren't well produced and are actually more kind of from the heart and just showing information and just giving really high value, those are
Yeah.
the ones that do the best. I've got a video studio set up where I've got really good lighting. I've got backdrops. I've got all kinds of stuff. And the videos where I just pull out my iPhone and talk, or I just do a screen share and I just kind of like show a demonstration of something on my screen. Like, here's how you accomplish X, Y, and Z. Those
Yeah.
do way better, So it's just,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people try to overthink it. And somebody told me once, done is better than perfect, and I'm guilty of that because I'll obsess over making something perfect. And then at some point I just have to figure out, look, I just need to get this done. And because otherwise it's never going to be perfect.
Never gonna be perfect. Yeah,
Exactly. So
100%.
yeah, so that's the big thing. So, all right, awesome. Well, listen, I really appreciate you sitting down with me today and giving all this information. I definitely love to get an update from you in a couple months and see kind of how once you get that Facebook group started and everything, see how
Yeah.
everything's going. But yeah, no. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me. I really
No problem. And congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.